Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Ishrat Nazmi and I'm a procurement specialist with the Connecticut Apex Accelerator or CT Apex, formerly Connecticut PTAC. This Apex Accelerator is funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the Department of Defense and matching funds provided by Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development or DECD. Our host agency is Southeastern Connecticut Enterprise Region or Sector. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's webinar, Doing Business with Connecticut Lottery. During this presentation, all attendees are muted and your questions will be answered at the end of this webinar. The session material will be sent to you via email after the presentation. We will have a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So be sure to submit your questions in the Q&A box. Next slide. Connecticut Apex provides assistance with education in regards to the complexity of government contracting, assisting with federal, state, and local government registrations and certifications, including socioeconomic certifications. Connecticut Apex helps clients with market research with procurement histories, identifying bid opportunities, preparing for bid proposals, one-on-one counseling, creating government-friendly capability statements, and bid matching. Next slide. Connecticut Apex has 7 office locations throughout Connecticut, which includes Hartford, East Hartford, Rocky Hill, New Haven, Milford, Stamford, and our headquarters in Groton, Connecticut. Next slide. You can follow us at CT Apex on social media, including Facebook and LinkedIn, in addition to registering online at ctptag.org, where you can sign up for government contracting assistance and also access our learning library for various webinars on a variety of topics in regards to government contracting. Next slide. We are fortunate to have the Connecticut Lottery procurement team today with us. Jeff Hugh is Managing Counsel, Legal and Procurement at the Connecticut Lottery. In this dual role, Jeffrey is responsible for serving the lottery's legal need and leading its knowledgeable and highly skilled procurement team. Next. Stephen Day is the Fiscal Administrative Officer. He is a North Haven, Connecticut native. Stephen is currently responsible for overseeing the lottery's purchasing of goods and service and ensuring all needs are met in a timely manner by the procurement team. Next. Karen Shambrillo is a fiscal administrative assistant. She started at Connecticut Lottery 8 years ago. Next. Marilyn Benjamin is also a fiscal administrative assistant at Connecticut Lottery. She has nearly 30 years experience in the procurement field. Next. Today's agenda for doing business with the Connecticut Lottery, we will discuss the following topic: overview of Connecticut Lottery, understanding the procurement and procedures of working with the Connecticut Lottery, supplier diversity program, and the team will recap top takeaway from today's webinar. At the end, we will have a Q&A session, so please be sure to submit your questions in the Q&A box. With further ado, let's welcome the Connecticut team. Hello. Next slide.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. And thank you, Connecticut Apex Accelerator, for hosting today's session on how to do business with the Connecticut Lottery. My name is Jeff Yu, and I am, as previously stated, the lottery's managing counsel, legal and procurement, responsible for managing overall management of the purchasing department. Joining me today is the lottery's purchasing team, each of whom will individually introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Day. I'm the Fiscal Administrative Officer, FAO, at CT Lottery. And one of the things that I participate in are our requests for proposals, and project initiatives.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Chavrello, Fiscal Administrative Assistant here at the Connecticut Lottery. I have been with the purchasing department for a little over 3 years and the Connecticut Lottery for 8 years. I handle a lot of the RFQs and assist Stephen and the team on the RFPs.
Good, excuse me, good morning, Marilyn Benjamin, excuse me, there's something in my throat. I am also a fiscal administrative assistant along with Karen. Our team of 3 procure products and services that are necessary to run the daily business here at Connecticut Lottery. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen, Karen, and Marilyn. Without you, the purchasing team would not run as smoothly as it does. As previously mentioned, there should be a chat area on your screens for submitting questions to us during the presentation. We will answer as many of these questions as time permits at the end of our presentation. Of course, feel free to reach out to any of us after today if you have any additional questions. We will provide our contact information at the end. Slide, please. So let's begin our discussion by learning a little bit more about the lottery. The lottery does more than just sell lottery tickets and conduct drawings. It has a president and a board of directors like any other corporation. And it is committed to social responsibility initiatives such as responsible gaming and supporting capable and diverse businesses through organizations like Connecticut Apex. A big difference between the lottery and other corporations is that the lottery was created by the Connecticut State Legislature. The lottery's purpose is to generate revenue for the state's general fund and has been doing so for more than has done so for decades through its 2,900 statewide lottery and sports betting retailers. The lottery generally operates independently from state government control. This quasi-public status makes it different from state agencies. For example, the lottery is not subject to the same procurement requirements and restrictions that typically bind the hands of state agencies. While this nimbleness is beneficial, when it comes to buying goods and services, the lottery still believes that all purchases should, when possible, result from a competitive process in which vendors buy to obtain the lottery's business. Next slide. The lottery has been giving back to Connecticut for over 50 years. The following slide commemorates the lottery's history from its birth in 1971 through its conversion to a quasi-public corporation in 1996, up until last year when the lottery celebrated its 50th anniversary. Next slide. Now that you know the lottery a little better, we will share with you some helpful tips on becoming a lottery vendor. Here is a roadmap of the topics we will cover. Next slide, please. I'll now hand the steering wheel over to Marilyn to take us on our way.
Good morning again, and thank you. Jeff gave just a brief overview, tidbits and historical about Connecticut Lottery. Now we would like to know a little bit about you and your business. We're going to walk you through how to register your business. And that is a major takeaway from this presentation. there are a multitude of takeaways, but we definitely want to emphasize the importance of registering your business. If nothing else, get into our pipeline, become a vendor in our database so that we know that you exist. You as business owners have a multitude of products and services that we might actually use on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis. So let's walk through the steps on how to register your business through our supplier diversity program on our website. You can visit us at connecticutlottery.org. We've given you the steps there. When you're in our website, you're going to want to go to the About Us section, which is in the upper right-hand corner. There, you'll go ahead and click on Procurement. It will take you directly to our supplier diversity program. Next slide, please. Now, the Connecticut Lottery Supplier Diversity Program reflects our commitment, and I say a strong commitment, to our corporate social responsibility and the state of Connecticut's goals to ensure that local, small, minority-owned businesses get an opportunity to be a part of our procurement process. Let me explain just a little bit on how we as a team accomplish that on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. When my colleagues and I go out to solicit products and services from businesses such as yourselves, what we do is obviously we are looking for capable vendors, but what we do is on a day-to-day basis, if we're soliciting printed items, we're going to go out to three viable vendors. And when I tell you there is a conscious effort to ensure that one, two, or oftentimes all three are small or minority-owned businesses. So we have a pool with which we pull a database we utilize on a daily basis with a host of vendors such as yourselves. So there is a conscious effort and a directive, a corporate directive that comes straight from our president to ensure that we allow the opportunity for small and minority businesses to participate in our process. Again, these are all viable vendors, and it's something that we are conscious of on a daily basis. There are a couple little tidbits with regard to our supplier diversity program, but if you would be so kind to go to the next slide. This is a continuation of the website. All of this information is technically on one page. We chopped it up just for the presentation purposes. But I will also say there is a strong emphasis at Connecticut Lottery to keep, to solicit businesses that are in the state of Connecticut. We do have a broad spectrum of vendors across the nation. However, when it's appropriate, we tend to want to keep solicitation within the state of Connecticut. There are a host of products and services that we need, as I mentioned, on a day-to-day basis. Further along in our presentation, Karen will go over the products and services just a little bit more detailed. When you are registering your business, please be sure to incorporate any supplier certifications that you have from all the respective agencies. Again, we want to know everything about you. At the end of this slide is a click button. Next slide, please. This will take us directly to our procurement portal where you physically register your business. And here again, this is exactly what our website looks like. All the pertinent information is required, your business name, your contact information, address, so on and so forth. Your email address. If you don't have an email address, no worries. We would love to get from you a capability statement, which you can email us. Our email information will be provided towards the latter part of this presentation. Again, if you don't have a website, which would give us a little bit of visibility on your products and services, you could even email us a brochure. Anything to get us more information about the products and services that you offer. Again, we mentioned if you're certified, make sure you indicate there. If there's something special that you offer and you just want to, let us know about that, be sure to use the comment section. This is real time. Once you hit that submit button, it's real time information. The purchasing team will get an alert email, and one of the three of us will promptly respond back to you, just so that you know that we've received your registration. We're vetting your organization. We may reach out for additional questions, but at least you'll get some sort of a response from us. Now, registering your business doesn't automatically, mean that we will partner with you, but we will certainly look at what you have to offer. There again are some products and services that are going to be needed on a regular basis. There are other products and services that some of, my business colleagues here, we may not necessarily use, but I cannot stress, get into our system, register your business so that we can take a look to see what it is that you offer. Next slide, please. Oh, and there are a host of benefits, with supplier diversity. And it's a win-win for both sides. Supply chain sustainability, it's promoting competitive pricing. Again, back to my example of on any given day when we are soliciting, we typically reach out to 3 or more vendors on a given project. Competitive pricing gives us the ability to be competitive if we are utilizing all of our resources, and we see you as resources. Business partnership expansion, multiple procurement channels, advancements in economic growth of community and local businesses. Again, as I mentioned earlier, there is a conscious effort where possible to keep the purchases that we make on a daily basis in the state of Connecticut. And ultimately, this just promotes innovation. There are, again, are a host of benefits. These are just a couple of the snapshots. We again invite you to register your business, and thank you. If you have any questions on this section, please enter those in the chat box, and I am going to pass the steering wheel over to Stephen. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marilyn. Okay, again, my name is Stephen Day. I'm just going to take a few minutes here to go over our procurement process and how it, relates directly with our procurement policy. Identifying the need, we will meet internally with our different business partners to get the specifics of what they're looking for, what service, what product that they're looking for. And there are certain instances where we're on strict deadlines, or there may be a time period that will allow us to kind of go in depth with the need itself. We would, strategic sourcing, we will look at market conditions, supply chain issues that maybe come about. We'll look at budget spend analysis and location of where you guys are located, how fast we can get the product or service. Those are just some of the strategies that we at CT Lottery will use when it comes time to selecting our supplier. Over the next few slides, I'm going to go over with you our request for quote, an RFQ, and our request for proposal, an RFP. So you'll see our templates and what we're looking for in the next few slides. As far as dollar amounts, anything product over $7,500, we are required to go out for quote. And then anything over $75,000, more extensive projects, we're required to go out for a proposal. So a request for quote, what's included? You'll see at the top of our template, a submission deadline. This is when we would need your submitted quote sent back to us via email. You also see a procurement officer listed to each request for quote, and that person, one of us three, will be your main point of contact. So let's say you have questions regarding the quote itself, that person would be the person you would reach out to. Again, you'll see as we discuss with our internal partners, items needed, quantities needed, and specifications of those items. Sometimes you'll even see a mock-up, if we have a promotional item, we'll show an image or a document will be available for viewing. Also, packaging delivery, in here will state, a required date that we will need that items in-house by, how, if we want it ship complete, ship partial, all that information will be included in that packaging and delivery section. And then at the end of our request for quote, you also see our terms and conditions of purchase. So what's required of you? You're going to need your contact information, name and number, and your business address in case we need to get in touch with you regarding your proposal or your quote. Pricing, your signature, and then most importantly, timely submission, as I mentioned, before the deadline. So here is an example of what our request for quote will look like. As you can see, at the top in red, you'll see, a date that we would need the items by. Anything highlighted will be asked of you, vendor name, again, your name, number, your business address. Also, I'd like to note in the third paragraph is where you would see the procurement officer working on this request for quote, and who you can contact will provide both email address and our direct phone number. Again, we'll require you to provide your unit price as well as your extended price, and you'll also see the CLC Connecticut Lottery will provide you with the quantities and the specifications and description of the items needed. Again, additional specifications and a sample mock-up if available. And packaging and delivery sections, more or less all of our items would be shipped to our headquarters here in Rocky Hill. However, there may be instances where we need to drop ship to a retail location or an alternative address, not at our headquarters. That information will be listed in the delivery section. And most importantly, the signature, your name and your signature. We can't accept any quotes without that information. So, just make a note that that's, a required field. Now I want to go into our request for proposal and, the what, why, when, where, where is the issue? So our RFPs are, it's a more extensive process. A lot more information goes into it. So, what is it? It's a document describing a project, a need, such as landscaping service or a new computer software technology. So why do we issue it? Like I mentioned before, any projects that we think that will go over $75,000, we're required to go out to bid through a proposal. But the main reason why it's issued, it's to help us with our organizational needs. We might not have the resources or knowledge based on the project itself. So we're looking up to you guys to provide some more clarity, knowledge, and your best proposal. Again, when is it issued? We issue it over $75,000, and where our main posting, we'll post these on our Connecticut Lottery website. In addition to our website, we'll post it to the CT source board. You can find our solicitations there, and again, we also reach out to the multiple diversity councils and organizations that we take part in, and that we keep communications with to help get our RFPs out there and available for you guys to bid on. So what's included? We'll have an overview, an introduction. You'll see a timeline, detailed schedule, the scope of work, what we are asking for in detail, and also submission requirements. That may include, an introduction letter about your business, references off of past projects, a price proposal, or, state certifications. So, it's imperative for you guys to, look and follow directions as outlined in the RFP. We'll have, again, next slide, I'll go over our schedule, and, there are certain dates that information would be needed by in order for us to consider your proposal. So again, the importance of the schedule, I can't stress this enough. Once the RFP is issued, there will be a date for proposer questions that you would need to submit your questions by. And then we, Connecticut Lottery, CT Lottery will provide answers to those questions, and we will post those on our website and on the CT board as well. You'll also see a proposal submission deadline, and if we receive any proposals after this deadline, we cannot accept them. So again, that's, it's important to follow directions in terms of when you submit your proposals. And then again, we'll also note an award date on or after a certain date, so you'll be prepared for a response from the procurement officer on the RFP. And before I hand it over to Karen to go over our products and services, again, any questions that you may have on the segment that I just went through with you guys, please feel free to enter them or ask them in the Q&A section.
Thank you, Stephen. I'd like to thank all of you again for taking interest in doing the business with the Connecticut Lottery. Here's a few products and services that we solicit. These are things that we may get on a weekly, monthly, or yearly basis. We have different promotional items. Any of you have been out to any of our retailers or sports locations, you may see our different scratchers, pens, pencils, that sort of thing, our office supplies and equipment, everything from the copiers to the paper pens that we use as employees here at the Connecticut Lottery, we procure. Printing services, business cards, banners, all those types of items, stationery are things that we procure on pretty much weekly basis, if not monthly. Custodial services and supplies, that services might be something that we go out for a RFP for. Supplies are things that paper towels, hand soap, that sort of thing that could be an RFQ. Private courier services, that is something that we're currently have an RFP active that we're working on. Our security services, along with our forklifts, the maintenance along with purchasing the equipment. These are all different, just a snapshot of the different items that and services that we solicit on an ongoing basis here at the Connecticut Lottery. Next slide, please. We wanted to give you a sample of some of the different items so you can get an idea. Here is some items along with the name, different items that we do procure, our Keno coasters, our scratchers, the different pens. We when we have different promotions that we're promoting, we try to procure something that we might be able to put out there to the public to make you aware of the different promotions. Next slide. As I said, print matter, we do different flyers along with promotions of the different games that we have, business cards, stationery, all those different items we procure. Next slide. Not only do we procure those different items, but we procure acrylic items. Our dispensers that our tickets are put in are one of our big items that we have. All our retailers have them, along with our play slips and various items like that. Next slide. As you can see here, we have our 50th anniversary. We do we purchased a lot of different items to celebrate our 50th anniversary. It was a big accomplishment for us. During that time, I would say 75% of the items that we procured were from diverse Connecticut companies. As we stated earlier, supplier diversity is very important to not only the procurement team, but the corporation as a whole. And keeping business in the state of Connecticut is something that we take very seriously and is very important to us. These are just a few items that we do procure for various promotions and or just promoting the Connecticut Lottery. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff.
Thank you, Karen. So this afternoon, we reviewed several helpful tips on partnering with the Connecticut Lottery, which are summarized here on this slide. While all of these tips are important, we wanted to re-emphasize registering your business with the lottery. Additionally, if you bid on a project to provide goods or services, be sure you have the resources to fulfill the order and stand behind your products and services. Next slide. This last slide shows our contact information of the individual team member, purchasing team members. Please feel free again to reach out to any one of us. If you have any questions about registering your business, or if you have any general procurement questions. Speaking of questions, let's take a look at some of the questions. I see a number of questions up in the Q&A and chat box. Ishrat, would you care to read some of the questions to us? Okay, there we go.
There you go. Hi, guys. So I'm back and we have reached the end of the presentation on doing business with the Connecticut Lottery today. I think this was a really informative session, and the team has provided such wonderful details on how to do business with the Connecticut Lottery. The key takeaway for me today is be sure to register your business with Connecticut Lottery, understand their procurement process, and visit the lottery's website for solicitations updates. So with that, we'll start reading some of the questions. The first questions I have is, does the lottery have cafeteria or snack area? I guess, do you have any concessions product needs? That's the question.
We do have vending machines currently in our cafeteria. We have a beverage along with a snack machine. So yes, we do have those available to our employees.
Okay. And do you procure those items same way that through your purchasing department?
That is different. That is through the state, so that is a little bit different. So no, that would not be necessarily directly through our procurement.
Okay, so the next questions I have regarding the diversity program. This question is there a target dollar amount for the diversity spend for the fiscal year 2023?
As a matter of fact, there is not a target dollar amount. We leave procurement or solicitation wide open. There are no quote unquote set asides with Connecticut Lottery. So it's wide open playing field, and no, there are no dollar amount specifications.
Can I add?
Yes, please.
I'd like to add Maryland's answer. We also, our procurement team also, we do our best to include, diverse vendors into all of our solicitations. So we're always looking to include 1, 2, 3, 4, as many as we need or can, or in our solicitation. So again, if you register your business and get on our website or get on our master list, we'll look for you guys if it comes about.
Okay, so let's move on to the next questions. The next questions regarding is there different forms or fields for services? For example, the RFQ example showed only for a product oriented form.
Yeah, so if there is a service, we would include, or we would modify that section for the service. We may also reach out directly to the vendors, prospective service vendors, to obtain a quote as well.
Okay.
I
Great.
can add quickly, we do reach out to different vendors if there's an electrical issue or something like that, and we will have them come out to take a look at the scope of work that we're looking to have done, so they can provide a accurate quote. The RFQ may not be appropriate for that. They need to sometimes come out to actually see the work that needs to be done. So on those instances, a lot of times we'll have vendors actually come out to the Connecticut Lottery to take a look at the scope of work that we're looking for pricing on.
Okay, great. So the next question is regarding, do you require business to be brick and mortar? My business is home-based. Will this exclude me in doing business with the Connecticut Lottery?
I can handle that. So we are open to any types of business, whether or not they're bricks and mortar or web-based services as well. As long as the vendor, when we seek the service or goods, has the ability to perform and fulfill the requirements. There will be, in some of our solicitations, we will ask questions about the business structure, staffing, resource availability that the supplier has. So no, we do not only go with or only do business with bricks and mortar.
Okay. This question is about, actually the next two questions is about professional services, such as architecture, interior design, construction management. So how do you solicit these professional services?
It's based on need. If we have a broad range of needs, like any corporation, from promotional items to occasionally real estate advisory services. There are times and instances, the frequency of our need we have a more frequent need for, say, promotional items than we do architectural services, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't need them sometime, the architectural services or those unique types of services down the road. So yes, register your business. So that, again, register your business, even if you think that it might not fall within the range of products or services. We encourage you to still register with us.
Okay, yeah, the next two questions, there's a number of questions regarding the professional service, such as, information technology, administrative, finance. So all of these services, if you just register, the Connecticut, the lottery team will see if they have a need for it, they will reach out to you.
That is correct, Isra.
Yes, and then what we will do if there's a IT specialist, we'll not only register them in our database, but we'll forward that information to our IT department. So they have it for themselves to take a look at. If it's an HR service, we'll forward it to our human resources department. So if it's something unique, we will make sure that we send it to the department that it's appropriately services be used by.
Okay, great. I think that's a really good piece of information for our audience to hear. This question is regarding what are some of the key evaluation criteria in reviewing media planning and buying agencies? I believe the contract is coming up for review. I think that's something that you can directly answer.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Okay, sure. I guess the first part of the question is for everyone who's in attendance. What are some of the key evaluation criteria to review a supplier? And the second part of the question, I'm sorry, the second part of the question is regarding media planning.
I can take the first part.
Okay.
If you want to take the
Yeah,
first.
sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
So the lottery, the criteria or guidelines for selection, potential selection, will be included in the RFQ. Now, RFQs, our request for quotations, are primary. I can't say always, but mostly based on price alone. There are situations where if it's a service, then some qualitative factors will be considered, like the location of a supplier, whether or not they've done business with us in the past, their staffing, resource availability. We generally, for our RFPs, now request for proposals, which are a larger purchase, those are based on the best interests of the lottery. There is no specific one factor that on which we will select a vendor or disqualify a vendor. The key is that vendors follow the solicitations directions, provide us all the information that we request, that their proposal or quotation is complete and succinct and responsive.
Okay. Go ahead, finish that thought.
Respect to the media buy, we would review proposals under the same sort of guidelines that I just stated.
Okay. I have a questions regarding HubZone. Do you have any given specific special consideration to HubZone Enterprise?
Not familiar with it, to be honest with you.
No.
Okay. So I guess that falls under your supply diversity programs.
So a lot of the state, your DAS state procurement requirements, such as diversity, diverse spend thresholds, HubZone set-asides, we're not subject to those types of requirements.
Okay. We have a lot of questions. I'm really, glad everyone has such interest and, working with the Connecticut Lottery. So the next question is, once registered with the Connecticut Lottery, how do one will find out if they are a good fit or selected?
So, yeah, once you guys register, we as a purchasing team get a notification. Which then we will, make sure that your business information is added to our vendor listing. But we will also, reach back out to you in a timely manner to let you know that, your submission didn't go down a black hole. So yeah, we would notify you, once we do receive your registration.
If I could add to that also, the vendor registration is not a qualification. It's not a way to qualify or certify businesses. It's simply a database of potential sources, so that if we do have a need for a good or service, we can go to that list, quickly.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions regarding different products and services, a lot of products and services. We can't really go into specific each one of those and ask questions. So basically, the main takeaway is if you provide a service or product and you are interested in working with the Connecticut Lottery, please do register and they will contact you as they have a need for that product and service.
Correct.
Okay, I have another questions regarding the RFQ and the RFP. Could you provide a specific example of what you would do, what would go under, what kind of product and service will go under RFQ, or what would be an example of an RFP, product and service?
Yes, sure. So, as I mentioned, our RFPs will be, it's a more extensive project that a dollar amount of, over $75,000. So for instance, if we're looking for a courier service to deliver our instant tickets, our miscellaneous messaging services to each one of 2,900 retailers. Another one would be for financial auditing service that we may potentially need. Those are two, I guess, examples that
The RFQ process would be potentially business cards for new employees, our paper supplies, various things like that. And as Marilyn said, when we do go out to our RFQ, if it's a $35 banner, we are still going to give the opportunity to at least three vendors to have the opportunity to quote that. And we go out to different vendors every time. This way, everybody has the opportunity to do business with the Connecticut Lottery.
Great. With that, I'm going to end the Q&A section and should you please move on to the last slide. And this concludes our presentation for today. Thank you everyone for joining us today for another exciting and informative webinar with the Connecticut Apex Accelerator. Thank you to the Connecticut Lottery team again. If you have any further questions, and I know that there was a lot of questions we didn't get to, and we have all of those questions, we will reach out to the Connecticut Lottery team and provide you with those answers. Please visit the CT Apex calendar page to sign up for all our upcoming events and workshops. You can also find the CT Apex training video library at ctptech.org. And with that, we conclude our presentation for today. And again, thank you guys. This has been fun. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.